Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crawford County. And today in this episode, we got a lot to work on. Got quite a bit to work on. Mainly going to be working on the downtown area. Just kind of developing that a little bit more because, I was just kind of looking at the map and right now it just kind of seems like it's just more of an open grid system. And there's really nothing built on it yet. So today's episode, I kind of just want to fill in a little bit of the gaps just so we can get a little picture of what this is going to look like when it's done. And yeah, so before I get into what exactly I'm building, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about the series. I talked a little bit about it, not too much in depth the last episode, but I'm going to talk a little bit in this episode in case you are new, what exactly this series is. So Crawford County, it's a series, it's based off of a real place and I'm recreating it to the best of my ability. Obviously the recreation isn't going to be 100% spot on, so it's more or less like my recreation of the town, but it's pretty spot on. I would say that I'd say it's about probably like 90% accurate with the real thing. So, and I plan on keeping it like that too as we continue on. But there's just so much that I'm going to be getting into during this series. I mean, this is really just the tip of the iceberg on what I'm going to be getting into. And I have multiple towns I'm going to be getting into, at least three other major towns I'm going to be getting into. Obviously significantly smaller than this one. This town here is the county seat of the county, obviously, so it's going to be the biggest town, main city, if you want to call it a city, but yeah, so this town is going to take a decent amount of work, and that's kind of where I'm going to be working mainly. I may occasionally jump out to somewhere in the countryside if I'm feeling inspiration, but for now, I'd like to just get the town done and just kind of build outwards from there, kind of like a puzzle almost. Just kind of putting down the starting pieces and just building outwards from there. I think that is what I'm going for. And later on in the video, you'll see me working on a gas station. It's a Marathon gas station. And obviously there's a Marathon gas station there in real life, which I was really happy about because I was able to find an asset in the workshop that was a Marathon gas station. But the reason why it's Marathon is because there's a Marathon oil refinery in the town, so it kind of relates to that. And that's going to be a huge project. I'm really excited to work on the refinery. I think that's going to be a really fun build to replicate in City Skylines, especially now because of the Industries DLC. I just have a lot more tools to work with, and it's going to be a lot easier to kind of build that up into something that looks pretty realistic. So I would say that's coming out here within the next 4 episodes. I'll probably start working on the refinery. Hopefully I'll get it all done in 1 episode. That's what I'm leaning towards. But yeah, it's gonna be a really good build, and I hope you guys can tune in for that as well because it's coming up. So yeah, I'm gonna start talking a little bit about what I'm building here. And right now I'm working on the railroad track that goes through town, and I'm placing down some parked train cars, some parked trains, and just adding a little bit of detail. Also, around the railroad track, it was really dusty, and there's just all kinds of crap there. But and that's another thing too. Like when you're building a town, like when I'm building this town, for example, I found out so much more about my town that I didn't even know existed. And like I've started to learn more about it just by seeing like the little things on Google Earth even, and recreating it, and then even looking at that and just kind of like deciphering like what the history was at this place. Like, why does this look like that? Why does this look like this? And I just, kind of put together like some history in my head of like what probably happened, some speculation. And when I build the downtown area, you're really going to see how it just crumbled down pretty much. Because this town obviously was sprawling at one point, back in the day when local business was huge and everybody used local business. And nowadays, obviously, local business has really taken a toll because of big business like Walmart, which has taken away from some of these smaller businesses. So right here where I'm working at, this is the town hall or community center. And I added an elevation there on the building. And I really was happy with that because that's exactly how it is in real life. And since I'm working with like a completely flat map, it's kind of nice to add some detail as far as terrain goes, because in real life, nothing is completely flat. So I need to make sure, I probably need to do a better job at just going in here and just making sure that everything isn't perfect. But that's a whole new episode. Actually, I'll probably do some of that stuff off camera, but yeah, so right here I'm working with this functional parking. And I wanted to use the white functional parking, but for some reason it just doesn't work. I don't know why. Maybe it's like one of the mods that are giving it an issue. That's what my guess would be, but probably going to try to find some different ones in the workshop I can download. Obviously these parking spots here are just props, and but yeah, also another thing too, with these yellow functional parkings, for some reason it spawns seagulls. Like, I don't even know why. Like, I'd zoom out, I just see a ton of seagulls above my build. I don't even know why the hell it's there. But I'm assuming these things just make them spawn. I have no idea how to get rid of it. I wish they wouldn't spawn. It's annoying, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. But so right here, I'm just kind of adding some decals here just to make it look a little bit more realistic, a little bit more beat up, because it's not 100% perfect. Putting some no parking decals, some arrows, putting all that down. Put this mowed grass decal, which makes it look pretty realistic there. I'm outlining the parking lot with some bushes. And then here in a sec, I'm going to be using this concrete rail to outline the parking lot over here, and then using prop snapping to lower that down, make it look like a curb. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I think it's really turning out really good. Here in future videos, I'd like to compare my work to Google Earth, but I need to download some program for me to be able to do that. Right now, I don't have anything that allows me to do it. I've tried, but I'm using like this game record right now that comes stock with a computer, and it doesn't record browsing, so I need to figure that out. But yeah, and the computer is another topic within itself, so my computer isn't the best. I mean, it's decent. It's a good computer, but it's not a desktop computer. It's a laptop, but I mean, it's a pretty good laptop for what it is. It's only like a couple years old, but I've pretty much just, as far as my setup goes, I've just hooked it up to a TV and just doing it that way with keyboard and mouse. But anyway, so right here, we're working on kind of the west side of the square right now. And this corner building here, it's the European high density commercial. And it was just a little bit too tall for the scale of the town square, and it would have been just as tall as the courthouse, which I think would be really unrealistic. So I lowered that down, and then I covered it up with ploppable asphalt. So it looks like that it actually is that height, which I was really happy with. I just experimented with that as I was building, and it turned out really well. So very happy with that. Right here, I'm just kind of experimenting on which buildings I should put down. It was kind of tough. I looked through a lot of them. It's hard to make them 100% perfect, and some of these I may go back in and change them. We'll see, but right here in this area, I think I nailed it pretty solid. It's pretty spot on. With real life, like I said. So right here, just kind of working on this corner area. I'm gonna be working on some alleys here, some beat up alleys, some parking lots. Gonna be doing that, and yeah, just adding that realism, like I've said a million times. So what else? Yeah, I'm putting down this ploppable asphalt here, and basically I'm just using that to kind of differentiate the texture, so it's not all just one same color. And here I go with the detailing again, because it really adds that detail, and that's just all we're looking for with this. We want it to be as realistic as possible. And I'm kind of messing with the colors here on the buildings, but unfortunately some of these buildings didn't change colors how I would like. It just kind of changed the color of the features on the building instead of like the brick color, which kind of sucked. But I'm just gonna have to deal with that for now. The buildings are pretty bright colored, which in real life they're not. They're pretty dull. So I may download some more buildings on the workshop for those at some point, as well as I think I want to add some, I don't know, something with the graphics. Basically, whenever I'm viewing here, like when I look in a distance, it's a blur instead of all of the buildings rendering in properly. It just looks blurred unless I look directly on it. So I think there's a mod for that. Pretty sure there is. Like I said, I'm still new to this game, so I'm learning every single time I play. So if you would see my first build, like if you watched like the first episode on here, I didn't even have commentary. It was just a time lapse, but if you would see like what I built on it, I thought it was really good at the time, but now obviously looking back, it looks nothing compared to this. I think what I'm doing now, I'm really starting to use my decals and props to my advantage. And that is key for high detail. So working here on the square, adding some bushes. Like these bushes aren't here in real life, but it's adding that like game realism. In the game, I feel like you just need something there. Otherwise, it's just gonna look kind of blank. So I'm adding that in. This church asset, really nice. Really happy with this asset. I think I just found it on the main page. I just saw it on there like popular downloads, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna need this at some point. This is really cool. So I put that down, and worked out very nice. So then right here, this is what I was talking about, what I did with that corner building. I'm covering up the little indentation on the ground from me lowering the building with ploppable asphalt. So then it just looks like the building is actually 3 stories tall, which, you know, in reality it's like 4. But I'm just cutting out the extra story, making it look more realistic to scale. And what I was talking about earlier, I talk about like areas of the town, buildings that have just been torn down because the businesses went out or went under. So now there's just like these big open dirt plots. And I think that aspect is really cool. I just love seeing how through time all of this changes, and now it's just kind of like this, I don't know, it's just like this dusty old area that doesn't really see the light of day anymore, which is unfortunate, but for the sake of city skylines and aesthetics and details, it's really cool. I really like that. So right here, I'm using this this brick wall. It's similar to the concrete wall, except obviously it's brick, and in real life the building's kind of indented out. So instead of getting a new asset, I just kind of built in my own indentations using the ploppable asphalt tool, raising that up, putting it in for the roof there, and putting that on the other side. And it looks like it's actually part of the building. It looks really cool. Really happy with that. Adding some grass, some bushes, stuff like that. The wear and tear on the roads, and then this was like a little fence area. It's like this white pipe fence, I think it's called. Don't quote me on that, but it works out perfectly for what I needed here. The chain link fence, perfect. One of my favorite props, because I used to be an Xbox One City Skylines player, and we had none of this. So it was 100% vanilla, and yeah, it sucked because you couldn't do exactly what you wanted to do in your city, and you kind of had to be cheeky, you had to be smart, and you had to come up with your own ideas on what can I do here to make it look good using only vanilla, no mods whatsoever, which is giving me a lot of insight on that too. I've created some pretty cool vanilla cities. Maybe I'll showcase those in a later video. Maybe they're pretty good for vanilla. I think they're very good. Anyways, kind of off topic there, but we're going here in the back, making this little construction area with some concrete and putting all of that together. And I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. The downtown, I would say at this point, is probably like 50, maybe 60% done. There's still a little bit more I have left. I got across Main Street, I got to work on that area. Some bars, restaurants, stuff like that I'm going to be putting in. Last thing we're going to be building today is the Marathon gas station. So I was talking about this earlier with my future project with the refinery, so this kind of links together. I got this this tanker, this Marathon tanker, that's going to really work out for when I build the refinery. It's all just going to flow together, and it's all gonna make sense. I'm probably gonna have just a lot of them out and about and like parking lots and stuff, just adding that detail. So it's gonna look really cool. And I think with the gas station here, basically the whole set came with the store and the pumps and the sign, and then I added in this vanilla car wash, which looks like it's just part of it. I mean, it really blends well together. So got these concrete walls like I used earlier. I use these quite a bit, and then I put in some functional parking as well, just doing the last details, and then some bushes. But yeah, I think that's gonna about do it for today's episode. I have some cinematics at the end if you want to stick around and look at those. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you want to follow my channel, go ahead, subscribe. More videos to come just like this one, big projects in the future that you don't want to miss. So thanks again for watching, appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.